It's middle of the night, but I found a comment, someone asking me, Mr. Suzaki, could you give me some advice on how to become successful? Wow. I stopped listening to the music. Actually, I want you to listen to it, see if I can do it. It's just, I love this music going on. It's a Bossa Nova. Felicidade. And maybe I'm not pronouncing it right. But that Bossa Nova is something I like. Anyway, I'm now confused how to answer that question, because I thought the question is so wonderful. I picture this person is young and curious and open, straightforward to ask the question, how can I stop but thinking of how to answer? I have no idea, but I want to say something. If I was young, he may not be young, but I'm pretty sure he's young to be able to ask the question so straightforward. I like the mind he may have to not fear to ask the question. So that's already, I think, so wonderful. So that's where I stopped and went into this imaginary world. So let me just focus to answer that. But wonderful, I thought. And I'm so glad that I'm communicating with someone somewhere in the world with this media. And I can say anything I want. So in a way, I found, I don't know if you want to call it the success, but I found an avenue that I can connect. So to me, what I'm going through is already a success. But the success, the word of success, I also thought, what is success? I think it's happy feeling. So it's not the conventional way of money, fame, this, that, go there, have this, all that kind of stuff. Those are phenomena, but I think the real success is genuine to be yourself, to find what you really like, and just be in the state of pursuing. I think it's the process, not the result of what you get. What you get could be big or small, but how you feel is different, I think. It's like how you connect to the heart. And that expression is too vague, perhaps, for someone, but I don't know how else I can explain. I can talk a lot about it, because, let's see, let me just ramble, as usual. If you are aligned to who you are, that is what God or the universe wants you to be. Or the other way is to say that in line to, I call it the way of nature that brought us here, so that we are not deviating from what the law of nature is manifesting in our existence. So there's a continuity of what has been going on in the universe, and we are just a little bubble of popping up and processing this life. And in the process, we think this and that and compare me and you and think about what's the difference. And, out of that, we are seeking for ways to figure out what success may be. So that's kind of like the background. And what does that mean, what I said? Listening to your heart and feeling sincere and truthful to seek for the success or the happiness, and you find it, what it's meant to be. Someone asked me, what's the meaning of life or something like that. I may have responded in the video, I don't remember anymore. I wrote down something for that question. So I was thinking of writing down the question, but since I can talk about things on YouTube, so it's handy, I can also go into the space of imagination of, if this is in my case, so everybody's success may be different, but in my case, that's what I'm kind of rambling about, but hopefully sincere and truthfully, honestly, with the way I understand. But your way of picking up the idea could be different, but we can talk about it. And I think talking about it is also already a space that we are open to that, to talk. I was listening to that music, Bossa Nova, because I used to play and I feel lively. And this person, I didn't know her name. I want to put it into the description because I want to share, if I remember it. So that person has a dream. That's a good way to think about. Why did she start to do that and feel good about it? I'm sure she's feeling good about it. There's another person in Brazil, Elis Regina or something like that. And I love that person, but in her case, she was successful, but I think she went into drug. But she was so passionate. And I heard the story that she was in the Hollywood Bowl and singing to be prepared in the afternoon or something. And there are some people sitting out there just for a tour or something. And she was practicing and she got so much involved. And maybe she did some drug thing. So it's a sad story that I think she failed to do a good job because she was so involved at the moment. But she was living in the moment, but maybe the influence from the drug, I don't know. But as a result, the real performance was not as powerful because she lost the power already by that time. But that's human. And when she was practicing, I would imagine that can happen. So that, that's a good way because I'm not thinking to talk about it, but I'm sharing with it. And that's, to me, it's more natural than trying to figure out what to say because it just flows. And then, let me tie into what I've said about samadhi. When the mind is calm and quiet and you're being sincere and truthful, you open up the space that is imaginary or something that you want to express, even though you don't know what to say. There's something in there, in that space, the state of mind, and trying to get what you're talking and how I feel and how can I talk. And that's already a wonderful conversation instead of, say, if this person is manipulative or I don't know what's the word, trying to trick me or something, But no, what I mean is that if this person is just open, so the question just pop up, and I can answer as I wish to say anything as it pop up. So we are communicating in the space of like a children sharing the story without fear of being punished by someone. But just be. So I think that's the attitude and the state to share information, and being able to share information, in my view, is successful. From my point of the success, because if I can have some imagination or the way of, how I live and what I believe in, how to live. And if I'm doing it, it's already successful. And if I can communicate, it's multiplying the success because it's not just me. And if that statement is connected to the root of the universe, in the way of the universe, which I feel, and so if I tie back to that Bossa Nova, the singer, I just found her name, so I don't remember it. But that's what we have the possibility. Yeah, that's right. In Zen, which I talk a lot, that the Zen Kigen. Zen is total, Kigen is like a utilization of your talent. Zen Kigen, fully utilizing. So that's the power of being open to yourself, sincere, truthful, and share what we can. So isn't that the success? And if we can communicate, it's double success. And if you live like that, in terms of just not the talk, but in terms of selecting the way to go, maybe you are not sure. Let me just play with it. Because I wanted to come to New Zealand when I was 20 or something, and my father said, maybe not. And I wanted to come, so I aligned so that I can come and work at the apple farm. And I had the imagination. But in that case, I listened to my father and didn't. So I thought about it. My life would be so different if I did go to New Zealand at the time. But guess what? I'm here now in New Zealand. So in a way, that dream is manifested in reality. And I've been to New Zealand 30 times or more. And how could I do that? Because I worked hard and started to do this book writing and video and lecturing and seminars and traveling around the world. So I accumulated all the mileages and communicating what I wanted to do. So that's another success, to believe in something and do at work about it and share it. And then along the way, I found another passage of my doing at work, which is to believe in some idea and pursuing, which I did. And that was when I was 30 something. I didn't know what to do at the age 30 something. I was into nuclear and safety and into business and then into Zen. And that's the time period. But there was a dream that I wanted to do, which I think I'm talking a lot, but it's also relating to this question. That I read the book that in America, the people who worked at the GM was laid off, even though he spent 15 years in this company. He never been asked one question or suggestion from the company, or the supervisor or something. And I thought that's not right. So that's triggered me to come to the US to explore what can be done. And I feel like parachuting into the desert. And that's the greatest moment in my life, in a way, to explore things, because I don't know if it's going to succeed. So I did, write paper and seminar, and it worked. And out of that comes this traveling, and because I became, I had a little company, but I started to do my own so that I can be free, so I could come to New Zealand along the way of traveling to different countries. So actually I spent like 3-4 months every year and I've been to New Zealand 30 times, so plus. So I think that turned out to be, I didn't look for it, but that's why I'm wondering, I had a dream, I made it happen, not at the time, but later. And I thought, I wish I did come, because my life would be so different. But you can't complain. But I was thinking like that. So now as I talk, I reflect back and I feel, to answer your question about success, I was not successful that I had a dream but didn't do. But guess what? I found that I could do it. And I'm living in this house and talking like this, reflecting my life. So life is not unpredictable. That's natural because the human mind is limited. So the meaning of success may be different as you live and experience. And there are lots of stories that something people find failure, but triggering it was not the failure because that put that person to really think about what to do. Instead of, if you are successful in that moment, it may not have come to that energy and the power to go through it. I'm not saying I was right or something. It can go any direction, but the life is not predetermined. You have a way, the dream and the failure, unless you find it as a failure and go backward and regret and all that. Right. I guess I didn't regret, but afterward, coming to New Zealand, I was just picturing my life would have been different. But like right now I'm synthesizing, I can say it's okay. Maybe it's more than okay. So pursue and keep the question of success perhaps, but be prepared that it's full of unknown. Listen to your heart, work out what your success may be, and it may not happen, but it turned out to be the right thing for you. Right? That there's that potential. If you are not going backward, but trying to see what's the lessons learned and what can be done, what avenues available at the time. So, I in one of the video I said that there are various ways to climb up the mountain, but if you go up to the top of the mountain, the moon is there. But even if you don't see the moon, you keep going. And that is already a path to the moon, or watching the moon, because you're moving. So life is a process of moving, and if you think you have it, it's just momentarily thing. I don't know, but I just thought about it because of the singing. Some people who sings and very successful, but very successful become a burden and a difficulty. Why? Because you're famous and you become maybe complacent, arrogant or something, or that adrenaline rush and all that stuff may get you into a space and you have to figure out always to satisfy the customer and so forth. Then you forget yourself and start the drug, and all that kind of stuff can happen. I'm listening to that and I like music, and I was reading the Beatles, one of the songs that I was checking, A Magical Mystery Tour, I think that was the one. And I was reading the description, and there was a relationship of the time when people are using the drug or something, and the Beatles people are doing the drug, and maybe that's kind of connected to it. So in that imagination, the feeling of the success is momentarily thing with the drug. So it's not natural drug. Natural drug, meaning that good stuff, is the nature's way. That is the magic power that brought us here and live and die, and we just ride the natural way, the way law of nature. That's what I think, and that's what I have been talking on this channel and the YouTube. How can I communicate it? How can I? And that thinking and some kind of belief is driving me to not to stop. So I'm on the way of climbing up the mountain because the scenery changes, then people changes, and then there's a comment like this coming up, and I respond to it, and I'm thinking and how to respond, and in the process I'm still trying to figure out the passage. So this is the process. In one other video, and I will stop because I'm talking too much, but I was talking about the fear that the people respond and I'm happy. Then I start to think, what did I think about that? How do I communicate it to be able to sustain or something? But what's the point of sustaining? That's the ego. Me setting what to do. So that's a reflection that, let me just finish this, no. Of that moment, to not get trapped into the let's call it the success or the image of the success that is created, and therefore I lose the basic ground, home ground, the place I feel comfortable and happy in doing what I'm doing. So, like a children, that's the sense I have more and more. That's so important because it's genuine. Because if you are sincere and truthful, you are connected to the genuine sense. And that's the easiest way because you don't have to think of this or that, but listen to the heart and function. So anyway, I'm communicating. I'm hoping that I'm communicating. Please, I wrote this person's name. Respond to me, and I may put some words in description more. But that's the thought in the middle of the night, and I'm happy to hear the person sending me the note. With the potential, we may not communicate, with the potential of sharing what we believe and keep on moving on with the past that we all would feel good about. And everyone's path is different. That's okay, but the principal way may be similar or something like that I think about. So maybe not good to think, but feel about.